Oh, yeah.
I'm the only one not drinking an IPA tonight.
Oh, baby. That looks dark and delicious.
Cheers, boys.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Hey.
Been looking forward to this.
Good.
Absolutely.
Been looking forward to the beer. I've been waiting for you guys to get on. Also been looking forward to having Bollino on here.
That should be fun.
So we have two Michaels here, Mike DiMiola, Mike Bollino. I'm not going to call Mike DiMiola though. It doesn't roll off the tongue like Bollino does. So
You just
can we
call
just call you Bollino?
Yeah, it works.
That works.
Might be. That works too, yeah.
You've called him a bunch of other things tonight, so.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
Yep.
tonight I'm drinking coconut bra from Humble Sea Brewing in Santa Cruz. Shout out to my buddy Jimmy Tran, who is a nature photographer and also a brewer for Humble Sea. So he hooked me up with this one, along with many others in the past. This is a imperial porter with toasted coconut, cacao nibs, and vanilla beans, and it's 9%. It was canned a few months ago, but these things hold up just fine. So it's tasting really nice toasty coconut flavors.
Coconut's my favorite in a stout. That sounds delicious.
Sounds great.
Yeah, so this is actually a porter, which nowadays there isn't much of a difference between a porter and a stout, but when the styles first came out, from what I understand, a porter is like chocolate based, where a stout is more coffee based. But now you can find stouts with tons of chocolate and even no coffee, or porters with tons of coffee, and or sometimes they're kind of the same thing now. It's kind of ambiguous, but yeah.
Cool.
What are you drinking, Mike?
My next.
Bollino?
So I got a good old Great Notion, red rum ripe or murder ripe, and it is a double dry hopped hazy IPA, double IPA. And the hops are the Citra and the Lupomax Citra. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, so that's just some kind of like extract. So it's probably so like the lupulin powder is like from the center of the hop, and that's like the fruitiest flavors that you get. So it's just like a concentrate from that. Yeah, it's probably a powder that they add. So it's just like, instead of adding more hops, which adds like more bitterness and like more floral flavors and stuff like that, they just add like the fruity stuff. So
yeah, it's really good. It's Great Ocean's here in Portland. Paul and myself and you, Eric, know it really well. But it's 8.1, but it drinks smooth. It's really nice.
Nice.
Enjoy it.
How is your taste doing? Is it?
Yeah, it's the same. So
it hasn't fully come back?
No, it's weird. Like this summer, my smell has been as bad as it's ever been. At times non-existent. But taste, my taste is there.
You kind of regressed a little bit?
I feel like, yeah, every spring it's getting better than every summer it gets bad.
Man, that's frustrating.
I think traveling kind of made it hard. I think when we were in Africa, I was higher up, and I think my nasal passages got really dried out. I think that kind of threw me for a loop, like just the inflammation around it. So I can taste pretty well. It's just not as the broad spectrum of taste, all the subtleties. I'm sure I'm losing. But it still tastes great.
Yeah. Weren't you seeing like a nasal doctor, like I don't know what that's called, like ear, nose, throat?
Ear, nose, throat. I had a appointment, but it canceled because of a family matter, and then I got busy with summer, and so I need to reschedule. But
yeah, because you were going to do like some kind of therapy to try to recover it.
Yeah, like I've done a bunch of smell therapies where you're just kind of smelling essential oils, but it didn't really do much. And with my condition, the nerve died, so it's to regenerate. So it can take at least 2 years, and I'm 3.5 years in.
Oh,
yeah. So
I got COVID in 2020, like October 2020. And I would say it took like a full 2 years to feel like I was anywhere near 100%. I don't know if I'm back to how I was before, but it's kind of been so long I forget,
Exactly.
But I mean, beer tastes good again. For the longest time, like IPAs, I couldn't like, all I could taste was the bitterness. I couldn't taste like the fruity stuff, like the more subtle flavors. And like in stouts and things like that, I could only get like the obvious flavors. I couldn't like sense any of the nuanced stuff. It was so frustrating. I actually like stopped drinking beer for a while because it was just a waste of money. I would just drink like cheap stuff.
I can hook you up with that stuff too. If you want.
Drink that Coors Light.
Course, like,
Yeah, that sucks, Bollino.
yeah,
Sorry about that, man.
I'm just being patient. The main thing is just long-term memory and wondering about the smell memory association and what the impact of my cognition as I age. That's the bigger concern now because, you know, like I mean, 3.5 years, I've kind of forgotten what it's like. When I smell an ambient smell, which isn't like right here, it's like, holy cow, I smell something, which is, you know.
It'll like surprise you. Like I remember having days that were better than others. I'm like, oh, today's a good day. Like I'm gonna drink like 5 beers and take advantage and like you know, eat certain things that I really liked. And then like the next day it'd be dull again. Like so annoying.
Yeah, it's annoying, but
you wouldn't think that a symptom like that would be that big of a deal. But then when it happens to you, like it affects everything. Like food doesn't taste good. You can't like, you'll crave things and you can't satisfy the craving because the taste isn't there that you're after.
Yeah. Well, my taste, I think your taste was hit harder than my taste. Like there's different variations of.
Mine went away entirely.
Mine never did.
At least 2 weeks, like gone, like nothing.
Yeah. Wow.
That's crazy.
Like I was drinking black coffee and it was like water.
Wow. Jeez.
That was
brutal.
nuts.
Yeah. Well,
that sucked.
You need to save on coffee.
Yeah, and beer. I mean, that's you're
eating salad with no dressing.
I do that anyway.
You're so healthy. You're so healthy. That's good.
What are you drinking tonight, Bowman? Paul?
Well, tonight, boys, I got some fight-ins. It's the triple Eugene's Axe. This is
amazing.
Yeah, this is a real banger. It's 10%. It's got Citra and Galaxy hops. This bad boy was canned on 7-Eleven. Jimmy hit this one out of the park when it landed on my doorstep. You're a fucking savage. But yeah, I let this one sit out a little bit right before the show here, and it warmed up to a perfect temperature, and it is absolutely stroking it right now. So
nice.
Well, it took you so long to get your audio set up. I'm sure it was plenty warm.
Oh, dude, I had it. I had it in my pocket, man. I was just like, I need to cool off. I need to cool off. I was sweating. Bennett had the heat on me. I was on headset number 5.
Well, you're looking pretty cooked too, man. You're like a lobster right now.
Yeah,
dude, I was getting scarred.
Is that from your backpacking trip, or were you like at the pool or something today?
No, not today. We had a little bit of a pool party on over the weekend. Got a little
nice. Some burgers and beers and UFC.
Yeah, woke up in the neighbor's yard on Monday. Not even Sunday. That's when you know it's good. when it's 2 days later, not the next day. Yeah, it was good. Yeah, I got a little tore up from the backpack as well, with some heat, but fortunately there was a lot of canopy action that we were under. So
nice.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. That's a good trip though.
Fantastic. Yeah. All right, East Coasters, what are you guys throwing down?
Oh, boy.
So I've got Lunch by Maine Beer Company.
Ooh.
So that's here. Let me hold it up there. It's a single IPA. It's nothing really overly remarkable, but it's something that's available year round. So it's something that I enjoy drinking a lot. Not the easiest to get in Vermont, but you can get it. So again, single IPA, 7%. ABV. What else I got here on it? Hops, Amarillo, Centennial, and Simcoe. It's got a little bit of a caramel sort of flavor to it. There's a little
Amarillo,
bit of
Mike. It's
go ahead.
Please.
I knew I was going to ask you how to properly pronounce that.
Every time.
Bringing in the culture for us here. Amarillo.
Oh, I love it.
So Amarillo. Centennial and Simcoe hops. It's not as big as a double. Obviously, it's just a single, but pretty well balanced beer. Good flavor overall. Something you can kind of drink, grab. It'll go with pretty much anything. So one that I definitely get into a lot. The cool thing about it, though, is the story behind the name. So Maine Beer Company has a double IPA called Dinner, and so most people assume that Lunch is the single IPA version of Dinner, which I guess it is, but that's not why it's called Lunch. So there's a whale. So Maine Beer Company's in Freeport, Maine, which is near the coast. There's a lot of whale watch tours that go off out of there, and there's a whale that they've been seeing for years and years that's got a big chunk taken out of its dorsal fin. So it was presumed that it was taken out, the chunk was taken out by a shark trying to, I guess, eat the whale. And so the whale watchers named this whale Lunch. And so the beer is actually named after the whale that's seen on all the whale watch tours that go out of that area off the coast of Maine. So that's the story behind Lunch, at least the name of it.
So fucking interesting, Mike.
I know.
Dude, that you dropped some shit on us right there. That's
some science.
That's another level.
You guys can just skip Maine altogether now. I mean,
how did you get your hands on that if that's in Maine? Because they don't distribute anything.
They do. They do distribute down here. Yep. So you can get up until I found this place out in Woodstock, which is about 45 minutes east of me. Sorry, where they sell it in bottles. Prior to that, I could only get it in growlers.
Yeah, because they don't can anything. They just do the bombers, right?
Yeah,
it's like 22 ounce or 18. Right.
Great question. 22 ounces. Oh, and this was bottled the first week of July, by the way. I don't know. Yeah, it's got to be. It's 22 ounces.
Yeah, like 6 weeks old. That's not bad.
Yeah.
No, right in the wheelhouse.
Yeah, I definitely want to check out Maine Beer Co. once I finally make it out to Maine for sure.
Hey, that fall 2024.
I had it on tap a couple weeks ago, or last week, really. Over in Maine.
Jimmy's flexing.
He's totally flexing. Was that on your road trip?
Yeah, on the road trip. Yeah, we were in I forget what town we were in, Brunswick maybe. But they had it on tap at this restaurant. It was really good.
I bet on tap is fantastic.
Man, I'm so jealous of you East Coast guys. You have like so many things within a few hours.
Bastards.
Yeah.
Short flight away, boys.
So
the West Coast is better for everything else, but East Coast I think wins in terms of IPAs and maybe beer all around.
Totally agree. Totally agree. You guys are savages.
So I grabbed a District 96 beer that Eric recommended I stop in at. I was going down to New York City, and he said, you got to check out a few places. But
I really had to twist your arm, huh?
What's that?
I really had to twist your arm, huh?
No, you didn't. Just the mere suggestion. So, but this one's All Snake Everything. It's a collaboration beer with Other Half. And it comes at triple IPA, comes in at 10%, and they've put a lot of stuff on this. It's pretty fruity, but they looks like they went with Strata, Citra, and Zappa for the hops bill on that one. Yeah, it's a cool place. I really enjoyed stopping in there. Had a good lunch, and not what Mike has there, but
how was the food?
It was really good. Yeah. You kind of had to wheel me out of there when I was done, but
I've been wanting to try District 96 forever, so I'm really glad you were able to go by there. I'm excited to try that one. How is it?
Yeah, the pineapple one was really tasty too. So.
How's that triple IPA that you're drinking?
It's really nice. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's definitely got a lot of fruit in there. So.
Well, yeah, and in every single IPA they do, from what I've seen, they add like snake fruit, which I have no idea what the hell snake fruit is, but it's like a subtle addition they do that probably just makes it a little fruitier.
Yeah.
Do you taste anything unique, different like that you can pick out, or it's probably subtle?
It's like passion fruit or something. Something's going on.
Yeah, I don't know what snake fruit is. I looked it up online and couldn't even find it.
I think snake fruit is similar to the anchovy, the elusive
The anchovy hops.
Anchovy hops. Yes. Yeah,
Mountain
I think
pearls.
they're both. Yeah. I think we're onto something there.
All right,
Other half has
Bollino.
a ton of collabs, huh?
Bollino, it's great to have you on as our first guest.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me.
So you just turned 50. I heard you guys you summited Kilimanjaro for your birthday with the family?
Yes, yeah. So yeah, I turned
awesome.
50 on the trip, and then Summit Day is my 20th anniversary. So it's kind of like turning 50, but also our 20th anniversary. And we happened to summit on the anniversary date, which is great. So it was myself, my wife, and my 14-year-old son, and it was just, that's something Paul knows all about, but it was like one of those trips which worked out perfectly with this side element of doubt the whole way, but it just, the whole thing from start to finish was great. And we got to the top and stayed healthy, and my son pushed through and did great. And yeah, it was awesome.
So how hard is it to climb Kilimanjaro? I've always wondered, like, is it just like a hike? Because it's like what, 22,000 feet?
No, it's 19,300.
19?
Yeah, so it's below 20,000. It's just hiking. If you've hiked any of the volcanoes out here in Oregon, well, it's like South Sister or maybe Mount Adams or maybe Mount St. Helens. So it's just hiking on that volcanic rock and ash and stuff like that. But it is high. In the last day, you're going from 15.2 to 19.3 to summit. And once you're above 17, you feel it. And once you got to like 18, 19, you definitely feel it. But we had great weather, light winds. It was coldish, but not like super cold. And is it hard? Summit day was hard. Everything else is pretty mellow. They take you slow. So one adjustment is just like walking slow during the day. Yeah. Like really slow, which I actually appreciated because you get to camp and you're completely rested. You're not knackered. You're ready to go. And but anyway, the whole thing was great. Summit day is long.
So how many days total?
8.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we did the Lemosho route, which is a little bit longer, but also gives you more time to acclimatize, which increases your chances of, being successful.
And that dude Wim Hof did it in like 36 hours or something.
Did he?
With no shirt on, like swim trunks. And
I'm sure he did.
There was like
No
snow
shoes.
at the top. Was there snow at the top for you?
No snow. We can see the ice cliffs, which are the remnants of the glaciers, so you can definitely see those.
Yeah, he was like walking barefoot in the snow, no shirt on, and did it in 36 hours. And I think he did it again, like quicker, something like that. But
what a monster!
Yeah, it's nuts. But yeah, I was always wondering, like, is that because it's one of the what is it, 7? The 7 summits of the world, one in each continent. That's the highest one in Africa. So I was wondering, like, if it really is like gnarly or.
No, the only gnarly part is the altitude. That's it. Beyond that, it's not gnarly. It's great.
Landon did okay?
Yeah, he did great.
Nice.
He got to the rim and kind of bonked a little bit, and he's like, "I'm not sure if I can go." He is. He's pretty proud of himself because he had to gut it out the last 300 feet or so because he didn't bring any food up or he forgot it in the tent, and so he kind of bonked because he had no energy.
Yeah.
And, but no, the guides are like trying to get him to give them his pack. And he's like, "No, I got to do it by myself. I got to carry my own weight the whole way up." And he pushed through and gutted it out, and he was fine. He did great. So I think he kind of like had that like moment of doubt and pushed through it. And I'm sure it's a good experience for him as a person, So
that's
awesome, man.
Yeah, it was great.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it's great.
I love that part of your story. It's like it's just really awesome.
Yeah, like I was like, to me, that was the best part of the story for me as a dad.
For sure.
Because we're kind of like, my wife and I are like, what are we doing taking a 14-year-old kid to 19,000 feet?
Like, are you going to be dragging him up the mountain or?
Well, he's so strong compared to us. Like we climbed Whitney. He was like 40 minutes in front of us on top, waiting on the top of Mount Whitney last summer as a 13-year-old. So we knew we could do it. It's just, but she and I both have a lot more experience at altitude. And that definitely helps out. Just how you pace yourself and breathe and step and conserve energy. There's definitely some experience helps you out, and he didn't really have that experience at high altitude. especially above like 17,000 feet. That's when things really start getting a little bit. They start feeling different for me.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So you guys just have 6 more summits to do.
Now we're done.
Bollino's a mountain climbing savage.
Yeah, you've done
got-
one
I'm
of them.
tired.
He's got
Before that, it was-
years.
Before that, it was like 14 years since I climbed anything, like anything really. I'm retired.
What was the
Come
last
on, man.
one before
You're
that?
halfway through your life.
We no, I climbed Rainier when my wife was pregnant, and that's the last time. I remember being on top of Rainier as my 5th time and just being like, I think I'm done. I think I'm good. You know, because Rainier means so much to me personally. Like just to be on top of that one and be like, I have a kid and on the way, and I'm pretty
Rainier
risk
is actually
averse.
kind of a gnarly climb, right? Like it's a little technical at the top. People die like every year.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, it's crevasses. So they're really well-established glaciers. They're big, deep crevasses. There's some house swallowers on it.
Yeah.
But on the 2 normal routes, there's enough traffic where usually there's kind of a nice path to the top. But it doesn't mean you don't have some situations where it's don't fall, because if you fall, you may slide into a crevasse or pull your teammates off or
yeah.
things like
You get
that.
caught in
It's-
nasty weather. You could,
Yeah, like Rainier is, in terms of a challenge, is climbing wise is much more difficult than Kilimanjaro, just because of the
Okay.
glaciers.
Technical, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, just because of the glaciers. Like there can be steeper sections, or you may need to do some belaying around tricky sections, but it's not really something that's, from my experiences on the mountain, not something that's really super common. It's mostly just hiking and walking on a glacier up to like 30 degrees slope or 35 degrees slope. Yeah.
So while you guys were in Africa, did you end up doing anything else too?
Yeah, we climbed and went on safari. So we had a 4-day safari to Ngorongoro, and
Okay.
we had some great close-in sightings of lions, feeding and mating. And then we went to, before that, we were actually in a lesser-known park, which I think was amazing. It's called Tarangire. And there's more like acacia trees, and there was more forest. So you see elephants wandering through. It's more savanna. It's grasslands with trees interspersed. And that place is great. We saw cheetahs. We saw everything besides not jaguars, leopards. That's the one big kind of like game animal we didn't see.
They're more elusive though, for sure.
I think so. Yeah, the cheetahs were really good. That's a great sighting. That's pretty exciting.
Did you even feel like trying to shoot, or were you just like, yeah?
I shot
Yeah.
the whole time. It's that
Blurry
balance
ass
between,
photos.
yeah,
Not shooting,
No.
but shooting.
shooting. Yeah, I had my camera like,
Photography.
but I had like a 70 to 200, 2.8 with a 1.4 converter or teleconverter.
And Bollino is big game hunting. He was there to get a lion
Yeah.
head for his
Yeah.
trophy.
Yes.
Right.
He wanted that. He wanted that suit.
Yeah.
It's gonna take Teddy Roosevelt down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go with his gator boots.
He was after the elephant horns for the powder, so you
The
can
rhino horns. Yeah.
the aphrodisiac.
Sick. So sad.
Good for altitude sickness. You're on the right track.
Exactly. Screw Diamox. Just take some rhino powder. Some rhino horns.
He's springing back in the game.
And then you and Paul just went backpacking up in Canada, right? Like in BC, the Bugaboo Range. Where's that at?
That got axed because now everything is on fire right now. But back
Oh,
then,
so
it
you
was
didn't go to
beginning.
the Bugaboos?
And the Bugaboos are one of the spots, one of like 2 or 3 where there's like a good amount of smoke, and we thought it was gonna get worse. So we switched gears and went to the Alpine Lakes district or Alpine Lakes area, wilderness area in Washington.
Oh,
And it's a
okay.
lake that I've known about, and I think Paul's known about, and my friend Brian Xuan, who we went with as well. And we've been talking about going there for years, so we figured it might be a good time to go there.
It looked amazing from the photos that Paul sent me, the iPhone pictures.
Yeah, it's pretty great. It's pretty great. A little bit of a work to get up there. Like it's like
Hey.
5,000 feet, which isn't that bad, but the terrain itself is just, you're just stepping up on roots and loose rocks, and you're climbing this moraine. You're kind of side hilling this moraine to the top, and it's just, so it wasn't just like switchbacks for 4,000 feet. It was like a climber's trail for like 4,000 feet.
Yeah.
Hey, it's fair, dude. It's fair game. Just say, hey, Bowman was fucking cramping out there. dude, like it was like hour 5 or 6 inside of my quads, and I go through the reps. I mean, I work out a lot and run.
You were just having withdrawals, dude.
Dude, I totally was. I had a couple of beers in the pack.
Yeah,
I totally did. But man,
packing some stouts or something.
No, I packed
it's
in
a Brewhouse.
A Brewhouse and a.
There you go.
And a small can of Fort George. That really wasn't worth the pain.
Yeah.
Can I tell my bee story?
Oh, dude, you gotta tell the story.
Here's how you know.
Crazy.
Here's how you know you like beer. So we're getting packed at the trailhead, and Paul goes, here's 2 beers, a Brewhouse and like a Fort George. One's a tall guy, one's a 12-ounce can. And so my pack was jammed. So I have a long sleeve next to my tripod. I can kind of squeeze those beers in. So I put them in there thinking that day 1 would be pretty easy. We're like 4 miles in, and all of a sudden I get stung once. I get stung twice. And I think I kicked a ground's nest by hornets or like yellow jackets or something.
Oh, wow.
So like I start booking. I start running down the trail for like just about 25 feet. And all of a sudden all this water started dumping on the back of my legs. I thought my water bladder had burst. I was like, shit, my water bladder burst. But then I realized that the beer exploded. And so getting stung by 25 or 50 bees no longer had much priority. It's more like if that Brewhouse is the one that exploded, I'm gonna be so frippin' pissed. And so like I grabbed it and I was like, it was a Fort George.
Nice.
So I didn't really
Fort George took one for the team. Sacrificial lamb.
I thought he pissed his pants.
Yeah, it was bad.
True story.
It's a weird thing. Yeah.
Bollino, that AeroPress you got me, that is money.
I use it every day.
The best thing about it is I used to make coffee with a French press, tasted like whatever, but there's like a coffee shop I can walk to like 5 minutes away from my house. So my wife and I would go there and walk my son, and we go like 3-4 times a week because it tastes so much better. Like, coffee shops, it's always awesome. But ever since I got the AeroPress, honestly, it tastes better than like any coffee shop around. Even just like Trader Joe's coffee, nothing fancy. Yeah. Just using the AeroPress, like so clean. The flavor there's like no bitterness, no acidity, no grittiness.
What is it? Like, how does it work? Like, what's the deal behind it?
It's kind of like it's like a hard plastic tube where you put the coffee grounds in the bottom, and you have like basically a big plunger on top. So you put the grounds in the tube, put that on your cup, and you pour water up. You fill the tube up with water, put the plunger on top and let it steep. And it's a bunch of different techniques to brew the coffee. And then when you're ready, you just plunge it, but it's like a rubber plunger.
And it has like an espresso filter, basically. It's like a paper espresso filter.
Yeah. And it just creates a lot of pressure. And so it kind of presses that coffee down through the filter and into your cup. And I don't really know all the way it works, but I agree. It's like the best way to brew coffee out there.
Okay.
I'm taking it backpacking too. Like it's such a lightweight, small, like compact mechanism. The heaviest thing is carrying the coffee grounds. But for like a 2 or 3 day backpacking trip, I've taken it and made amazing coffee while I'm out shooting. So yeah, that's the best ever. Like I'll never use a French press again. Like just the grittiness that you get at the bottom is so gross now. I can't stand that.
Chalk.
Yeah.
Silt.
Like Turkish coffee.
Yeah, no, AeroPress is the best, and it's like $30, maybe $40 on Amazon.
Yeah, it's like between 30 and 40, I think.
But... Yeah, you got me one for my birthday, and then it was Alex Noriega's birthday, and I got him one, and I got like my sister one. Like I told everybody, like, dude,
did you credit me? Did you say Bollino turned me onto it, or did you?
Yeah, I'm not gonna stomp you.
That's right.
My birthday was in May, man. I don't know what the hell.
Bennett, we gotta take care of our guy. We missed him. We missed him.
Well, your birthday was just a week ago, Paul?
It was.
Yeah.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah.
Happy belated.
Thanks.
Yeah, man.
Thanks, guys. Whoa!
Yes.
What do we got going on? What is going on there?
Monica Meadows.
Yes.
Maybe I shouldn't say.
How long ago was this?
2018 or 19?
That might
Okay.
be.
I had no gray back then. Look at that.
That might be the best backwoods shitter I've ever seen.
Oh, it's a toilet. I couldn't figure out what you were sitting on.
No, that's like there's a sign to that thing too that says toilet. You're like, I cannot. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of toilets, like when we went to the enchantments, Bollino,
Yeah.
there would be like toilet things like perched up on like sides of mountains and stuff with the most epic views where you're dropping a deuce. Super genius.
Years ago, I thought about doing a book around like backcountry shitters. Like there's so many good ones out there. There's one on Sahali Glacier Camp, and oh yeah, it's nice.
Who are those savages?
Did you supply this to Eric Paul? These pictures?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I just found these on the internet, dude. I just searched up Michael Bollino.
Oh,
There's
you
tons
did?
of stuff on Google Images.
Yeah, I think these were on OnlyFans actually.
Yeah, that was a good trip.
That was a great trip, dude. Oh, whoa.
Oh, this is the trip.
That's the dope show right there.
That was the smoke coming in. This is like 22 miles in the North Cascades, another kind of brutal backpacking trip. And we went from clear skies to complete smoke out to rain. There's like no transition. It was just like.
Well, the rain clears out the smoke.
We had bailed at that point because the smoke was getting bad up there that we bailed, and it rained on us that night in the valley.
This year out here, like in Utah and Wyoming, there hasn't been any smoke at all. The air has been so clear, like the clearest year in like 3 or 4 years. It's been amazing.
Wow.
So, yeah, super lucky. But it's been stormy too, though. So like it rains 3 or 4 times a day. It keeps the air super clear. It's bad when you have like clear skies and it's hot for like 7 days. Like it just sinks in and accumulates.
Yeah.
Let's admire those mountain climbing stems of Bollino. Look at those things.
Little tree trunks there.
Jesus. No wonder that bastard's always like 15 minutes ahead of me. Look at those things. Oh shit.
Graham. The legend.
I don't know anything about this one. Is this like Little Finland?
It is.
Exactly.
Nice. I tried to go out there with my Corolla like 4 years ago and the road got gnarly, so I turned around. It was like starting to rain and stuff.
Yeah.
I think there's some work out there. I mean, it's
really cool.
It's pretty amazing, huh? And it's so remote.
Well, that like gnarly elephant head structure fell over like several years ago.
Oh, it did?
Yeah, it did. I think there might have been some controversy around it, like somebody knocked it over or something, but yeah. But yeah, there's some other stuff too. It definitely looks cool. I couldn't make it. I'll have to make it back out there sometime. Golden Butte National Monument in Nevada. That was another one where they were trying to change the boundaries or like reverse the protection or something like that during like the Escalante conundrum.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, Paul and I do a big road trip about once a year down to the Southwest, and this is our trip.
Yeah, notable. This was 2021.
Yeah, that was great.
Epic.
That's
epic. Good shooting the whole time.
That was it was so sweet. That was fun. Looks like Bigfoot there in the background. Look at that guy.
Are you sure that's Bollino? Is that not me?
No, that's you.
Yeah, that's me, huh?
That's you, Bennett.
No, that's Bollino.
That's way too tall and skinny for Bollino, dude.
Yeah.
And now I had him on the wide angle.
Do you carry your tripod like that, Bollino?
Once in a while I do, but I know this is your hallmark way of carrying your tripod is kind of like inverted a bit.
That's totally you, Bollino.
Is my center column out too?
That's how you know it's Bennett. That center column would be totally flexing.
Fully erect.
Yeah, exactly, dude. Exactly.
Yeah, that was a super fun trip.
Yeah, it was great.
Look at that young lad.
Before COVID. This was like a trip I almost didn't go on. I flew down to meet these guys in Death Valley. And I was like, do I really want to do this? It's like 4 days. Was it worth it? And I said, screw it, I'm going to go. And this is January of 2020.
Oh, wow.
So
right
happy
before
I
the
went.
lockdown.
because then things just shut down.
Yeah.
And so it was a really fun trip.
You're
Nice.
holding the Great Notion can there, Bollino. I just don't
Yeah.
know which
Right.
one it is.
That's when I could still taste it properly.
Hey, who else do you guys know that has actual glassware in the backcountry? Look at that.
That's not a pro move.
That's not a tin cup. That's not a can. That's a freaking. That's a proper glass.
That is pro level.
And is that Cram?
Yeah,
Cram?
the green hat. Cram's
Nice.
great.
Yeah, he's a great dude.
And a really good photographer. He's out of the game, but he's definitely a guy who can do it.
Yep. Dustin over there on the right.
Yeah,
Looks like he may be.
Was that Dustin Gant?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. He looks
Gent?
like he looks like he's on the gummy bag.
Here's me
What?
and Bollino, my
Hey, these
first
savages.
time at Great Notion, drinking a couple glasses of ripe. IPA.
Yeah.
Hell yeah! Look at that.
Remember that?
That was 2019.
I think it was.
I can't remember why. How did you and I meet up? Because I was leading a workshop with TJ up in Olympic, and then we came back, and somehow I ended up at Great Notion with you, and he wasn't there.
We went out shooting. We went to a creek on the Washington side of the gorge,
Okay.
which I think was mediocre at best. But we
Did
went
you
out.
pick me up at TJ's house or something? Or
I think I did, and we just drove out, and then TJ met us at Great Notion and drove you
Yeah.
back to his house. Yeah. So we were out all day.
so that was my first time at Great Notion. I literally tried every beer on the menu. Like I got like 2 flights and like 2 or 3
Shocking.
more tasters. But honestly, like I wasn't like that messed up. Like I wasn't like the most messed up I've ever been in my life or anything like that. But later on, I went back to TJ's house. Like we got some Mexican food. We were just like looking at photos. Like everything was normal. And then I took a shower. And then when I got like a super hot shower, because that's how I like it. But then when I got out, I was like all dizzy and stuff. I was like, oh damn it! And I just had to open the toilet, and I just I felt so bad. But yeah, I just threw it all up.
Oh no.
Hey,
Stouts, sours, IPAs, everything, all down the drain.
All mixed in
down the
there.
toilet.
Yeah.
you're,
That was rough.
you're- hey, when you're there, you got to take advantage, my man.
Oh yeah. And here's our enchantments trip. TJ
Oh, yeah.
and Ted Gore.
Oh,
Yeah.
Where is Ted Gore nowadays?
I don't know. I know TJ is still good friends with him. I think Alex also is good friends with him still.
Yeah, we used to have a group chat with TJ and Alex and Shane Blum, but it's been quiet for like over a couple of years. So
Yeah.
not sure what he's up to, but if you're out there, Ted, we miss you.
Yeah.
Legend.
That was we got really lucky with those conditions.
hmm
Like it snowed on us the whole way up, and that night snowed the whole night, and we woke up.
I think
and
it snowed for like 2 or 3 days straight, and then when it finally stopped, we had like 1 or 2 more days, and it was just insane.
yeah, it was so great. All day
The
shooting.
larches were all orange. Like I only came back with like 1 photo that's in my portfolio. If I could go back now, like I would have a heyday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't
That
know what
place-
I was doing. Because I was thinking we were going to shoot like grand landscapes and mountains, and like it didn't really work out that way. But there are all these amazing tree scenes everywhere, but I just wasn't like looking for it. I was like,
Yeah. I have one queued up on deck for the fall that I discovered this spring, which is pretty decent.
from that trip?
From this trip, yeah. New image.
Yeah, you have a few that were pretty nice with the large trees on the cliffs and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. They're okay.
Nice orange and blue contrast.
Yeah.
That place is incredible.
This
There
is
it
our
is right
hike
there.
out.
There it is.
Yeah, look at that.
And this one, a lot
Yeah,
of the
that was
snow already
awesome.
melted out.
Yeah, because it was like it dumped on us. Like it was winter. It was like what 5 degrees at night. Like the
It was
low.
really cold.
Yeah.
Definitely cold.
So that trip was so funny because Alex Noriega got the permits, and then the night before he was like, "Oh, I have a toothache. Like I can't go. Whatever." So then it was just me, you, TJ, and Ted, and then like we hiked in, and then Ted was like his knee was like bugging him super bad, so then he hiked out the next day. So then it was just 3 of. Oh yeah, and Shane Blum was gonna go too, and then he bailed like last minute. Like It's like people just kept like dropping off like
Feeling.
flies.
Yeah, but we had a great time though. I think you, me, and TJ. That was fun. That was a really
Yeah.
good trip. I think we're
It was
going
incredible.
to the ice cave. We found that ice cave, and we're heading there now in this picture.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, no, it looks like we're packed up when we're heading out. But yeah, it was right next
maybe
to
you're
where
right,
we
yeah.
were. Yeah, you
And I
got
think
all your
that
gear in the
tree-
tent.
Yeah, TJ's image of the tree. I think that tree on the kind of like on the lake shore there, that's the tree.
His image. I got one too, man.
I got two.
I shot it.
I think we all shot
Yeah,
it.
I have 2 pictures in my portfolio. That one, and then that other tree that's like, it's called Scarecrow because it like looks like a person with like its arms out and there's like a sun star. It was in
yeah.
my book.
Yeah.
Mm.
I think you
TJ's
showed
is
that
the
one
best,
to me.
That's such a beautiful spot.
Yeah, I would love to go back.
Mm-hmm.
I try every year. I put in for it every single year, and just I haven't. No, I mean I went years ago, but yeah, I just haven't had any luck.
I'm sure it's gotten harder.
Yeah, I think it has. But also, there's a lot of other places in the Cascades that have larches that are really beautiful. Because really, besides Prusik Peak, the mountains are not like supremely impressive there.
No,
Yep.
But yeah,
it's kind of just like nondescript, like granite domes and stuff.
yeah,
Yep.
Nothing like super obvious or isolated.
yeah,
And then Prusik is like so obvious, it's kind of obnoxious to shoot.
Yeah.
It's like it just feels like it's just like there, and it's like, you know, it's too obvious, and like I don't know. I wasn't super into it. It's just like this big triangle from most angles.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty crazy, like super impressive, but photography wise, I wasn't super thrilled.
yeah. I hear
For
you.
the area, just those larch trees and the way we had the snow, like that beautiful contrast and soft light and stuff. Like I wish I knew what I was doing back then. This was 2017.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I think we all
Crazy how
evolved.
time flies.
I mean, same here. I feel the same way. Like you learn so much in 6 years.
No question.
Yeah, how long have you been shooting for, Michael?
I consider this my 20th anniversary since 2003. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Where I was kind of like really wanting to create some images which weren't just me taking snapshots of my trips anymore. It was like, yeah, it's about 20 years. 15 years, seriously. 20 years where I was like wanting to learn and become more of a landscape photographer. So yeah.
Nice. You would
That's
think you'd be a
impressive.
lot better after 20 years, but whatever.
You would hope. Wouldn't you?
I was
That's
going
what
to
I
say.
tell myself, right?
Christ.
It's like every year I become a better photographer, but then I realize how bad I actually am. You know, it's like I'm so much better than I was back on that trip, but I probably thought I was a better photographer back then than I do now, you know?
Have you tried HDR on Photomatics yet?
No, you know, I heard about that in like 2008, and I think I want to go revisit that. I think that has some potential.
I think it
Yeah, we
does.
should bring it back.
Yeah.
The what's that guy's name that like popularized it?
Trey Ratcliffe.
Yeah,
Trey. Yeah. Good
should bring it
stuff.
back.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Bollino. So you picked
Wow.
out some photos to share with us.
Yeah.
Mm.
Should I go first or what? How's this going to work?
Oh yeah, you can introduce each one. Tell us why you wanted to share it.
Damn, that's sick.
Well, let me just say that I could have found 500 images to share. And so, but Patrick McDonald is an Oregon-based photographer, and he has some really good work. If you like redwoods photography, I think he's got some of the best images from the redwoods I've personally seen. But this one, I believe, is elsewhere. And it's just this nice backlit mossy scene with this glorious light flooding through it. And this is the sort of scene that I look for, but I've never been able to find.
It's like the epitome of like backlit, mossy, atmospheric trees, like in the Pacific Northwest. Like it is perfect.
It's stunning. It is really stunning.
It's like soft yet high contrast at the same time. The shadows are either kind of veiled and ghosted, or this detail you can pick up in the moss. I think he just handled it really, really well. I just think these scenes are a little rare to come by. I think when he found the opportunity to photograph it, he just arranged things really well. And he just has a lot of great work. So if you don't know Patrick McDonald's work, go on IG, I think, and look him up. But yeah, when I saw this image, I was just like, oh my God, there it is. That is like the quintessential, like you said, Eric, backlit, mossy tree branch scene. If I can find one that approaches this, I'd be very happy, but to exceed it would be exceedingly difficult, I think.
He's Patrick M Photography on Instagram.
Yeah, I'll put a link in the show notes for everybody. Surprisingly, he doesn't have a website. I couldn't find it.
I think he doesn't. I think I asked him where to send people. I think he said IG, Instagram.
And I know he shoots film. Does he shoot exclusively with film? Like, was this shot on film, you think, or?
Great question. I have no idea. I thought it was digital, but I could be wrong.
No, I'm pretty sure he's like a
film guy.
Film guy, like.
Wow.
And that makes his work even more impressive, for sure.
Yeah,
it's definitely more difficult to use film, I would say. Yeah. I don't know why people do it, but
yeah, the exposure latitudes are so narrow.
Yeah. No, this image is fantastic. I remember when I saw this, I was like, Jesus Christ, he did it.
Yeah.
He did it.
You bastard.
He did it. That's
Nailed it.
That's a good way to frame it up. He did it.
Yeah, I've been following Patrick for a long time. He's an awesome guy. He's got amazing work. I'm glad you featured his stuff.
Yeah, no question.
Great choice, too.
Thanks. Matt Redfern.
Wow.
I think the name, I can't remember the exact name, but it mentions Van Gogh. And it's you can't help but think of Van Gogh when you look at this image.
That's a great call. Great call.
And it's just, I mean, Paul, I've shot some of this. I believe it's pollen on top of a lake. I'm not sure what the exact substance is, but pretty sure it's like tree pollen.
I think so.
And just the swirls and the amount of pollen and having these trees kind of add a aspect of reality to the scene. I think he just nailed it. This is finding very unique conditions that are fully developed and then taking advantage of the opportunity perfectly. Like, I mean, obviously I'm not there. I'm not sure what else is going on outside the boundaries of this frame, but what he did choose to include is just so well seen. I just feel like it's just full of interest everywhere. And so I can just get lost in the details, the little swirls. It's just another one of those images, just like Patrick's images, where I saw it and I was like, damn, he did it. Like, he got it. Like, that's a fantastic image and rather elusive. And he found the opportunity and he just nailed it. And he presented it well. He didn't go too high contrast. I think the contrast looked really perfect. The colors look really perfect. Things are kind of like muted. They're not overbearing in terms of color or contrast. It's soothing, allows the eye to relax and just kind of move around the frame, looking at little bits of interest away.
Yeah, I hope he's proud of this one because it's insane.
Yeah, this thing is incredible.
Here, hold on a second. Someone's got like a weird feedback thing happening. I think it's Jimmy. Yeah, Jimmy, your audio's messed up.
His mixing board went out.
Sounded like it was saying Hobbit. There it is again.
Still doing it.
Oh, hell yeah, brother. Jimmy's trying to raise the bar.
That's his bass beat.
Dude, he's scratching over there. He's got some smoke pumping out. We need to go to Jimmy right now. Let's take it live to Jimmy. He's scratching.
Sorry
about this, Mike. Usually everyone's a lot more professional.
No worries.
Yeah, tonight's been fucking... It's been...
At least Mike's professional.
Yeah, right.
He's the only one who's not had any issues so far. Okay.
Hey, don't count that fucker out, though.
Yeah, he'll fuck it up.
Don't worry, my internet will shit the bed in 2 seconds here.
Yeah,
watch out.
Yeah, Jimmy is still doing it.
Jimmy's killing it over there.
So now it stopped, but we can't hear you.
Fuck. Like, how does that happen randomly? I mean,
hobbits.
You should like a B-sides episode,
God.
like an outtakes episode.
Oh, that's not a bad call. That
Yeah.
is not a bad call.
Sort of Patreon page,
Yeah, that's not a bad
Yeah,
call.
let's think of more work for Eric.
Yeah, exactly.
He has nothing to do. Let's give him some more chores.
He's the brains of the operation. He's like total B-side shit.
I'm the brains and the brawn.
That's right.
Hey, Jimmy, why don't you try leaving and coming back? Or just leave and never come back, dude. You're done. You can. I don't ever want to see you again.
That is so crazy.
Jimmy, just leave and rejoin.
I'm gonna have like 7 beers in a minute.
I know. I knew we were only doing 1 beer, but I got to get into another one here, even though I'm drinking a 22.
Hobbits. Holy shit.
Yes.
We've never had these issues.
Yeah,
Bullshit. You guys are a bunch of Bush League amateurs over here.
It's like
Exactly.
Let's
like
walk
4
into a well-oiled machine and decide to get this crap. I blame Eric.
14 hours
people is the
to record a
threshold. Once we
2
added like a 5th person, it just
shit the bed. Holy shit the bed.
I blame Eric. It's his fault. He's the leader. He takes the blame.
Oh, this is a train wreck.
At least we're not on the East Coast,
at least it's just Michael Bollino. It's not like someone important.
Yeah.
I know.
For sure.
No one's going to watch this episode. It's good to warm up on me.
That was the plan.
I'll be the guinea pig.
We're gonna get back to the show. My beer is gonna be like empty all of a sudden.
Yeah. I want to grab my second beer.
Hobbits. That is the weirdest shit. I can't even believe that was going on. Hey, Jimmy's shit is way worse than mine. Okay, let's just throw it out there.
Yeah, he's brilliant.
Yeah. He's a fucking professor. He shouldn't be doing that shit.
He should have his shit dialed in.
Yeah, exactly. He's better than that.
Yeah, come on.
I'm just a fucking dummy. Come on.
Let me call him.
Yeah. Hey, why you so easy on him and you were breaking my balls? Let's talk about that for a minute.
Hello, this is
Jimmy, what's your deal, dude? Why are you trying to ruin Bollino's episode?
Tell him I'm
I
pissed.
have no fucking clue what's going on tonight. I was fine the previous 4 nights.
This is his big night, and you're totally ruining it. He says he's about done. He's about to just drop off.
Yeah, I'm out of here.
I'm rebooting here. I don't know what the hell's going on.
Are you restarting your computer?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. It updated the driver for my microphone. That probably fucked everything up.
Oh man. Yeah, it was just like, could you hear what it was doing?
Well, I opened the Zoom preferences and I could see it was like playing like rap music. Like I don't know what it's picking up on.
That's NWA
It was just like
shit.
looping like a 1 second thing that you said. It was like Alex. I was about to drop another track on top of it, like Alex.
It was kind of dope.
I can't believe you're doing this to Bollino.
Yeah, it's really embarrassing.
Now we're never gonna get another guest again.
I'm so mad.
right?
I spread the word.
Yeah.
I think I'll do a social media blast about what a shit show this whole experience. Unless you guys start sending me beer for free.
It's called Brews, Views, and fucking bullshit.
All right, Jimmy.
All right, can you hear me?
There we
Yeah.
go.
Yes.
Holy shit. Hobbits.
Fuck
hobbits,
me, Ronan.
hobbits.
Such
All
a
right.
pain in the ass.
I don't remember where we left off,
great.
but
Jay,
I
I sympathize with you.
I think I was done speaking about this image.
Okay.
You know what's different here tonight is that we actually had somebody on.
Yeah, and you sabotaged it on purpose because you got jealous. You weren't getting enough airtime. Bollino was getting all the attention.
Enough. Yeah.
I think it's it. Blame me.
Yeah, I'm feeling like you're the
fall guy.
Freaking voodoo or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, hope everybody enjoys this episode because it's going to be the last one. We're getting shut down after this.
Yeah,
they're going to kick us off
Condemned.
the air.
Yeah.
The corporate sponsors are pulling everything out.
OnlyFans is going to ask for their money back. All that stuff. Jesus.
Yeah, we're gonna be totally fucking shafted on this one.
All right. Well, yeah. When I first saw this image, I was like, so we had one of Matt's images on the first episode, I think. So yeah, it's great to see something from him.
He's the first two-time appearer on our show.
First time caller, long time listener.
Yeah. But yeah, when I first saw this image, I had mixed emotions of being very proud of him and also being very pissed off that I didn't shoot something like this because this is insane. It's so incredible. And
this is a beauty. For me, I really like how he got those trees in there. I mean, it really just adds to the scene, and it's just and that Van Gogh comment that I think Bollino made earlier is absolutely spot on.
Yeah, Van Gogh would have been jealous of this one. This is like better than Van Gogh.
Yeah. No, true story.
I think Matt tends to do this pretty well. Looking at a lot of his images, he kind of captures this complexity of scenes, and a lot of his images just have, kind of like Mike was describing, this, I can move around and there's a lot to see and there's a lot of visual interest throughout the image. The one that we shared on the very first episode was kind of very similar in that sense. He's really, really good at doing that and finding those scenes and framing them and capturing them. Really well done.
Absolutely. Well stated.
Oh,
damn, dude. This is money.
This is actually a new image for me. This is an image I discovered after being invited on the show. And as someone who does a lot of tree and forest photography, this just, wow. There's just images that grab you like immediately. And this is exactly that sort of image. And there's a couple things going on. One, Tiago just did a great job arranging the spacing between the trees. This is an image where you want to zoom in with your eyes and look in the background between the trees, what's in the background between them, and you come back out and then you go back in. I love images where my eye wants to naturally explore details.
Right, but then the trick is like always bringing you back to the same spot, so it's not just like chaos or like. Yeah,
and so for my eyes, I go in and out. Like I go in, I explore a section, I come back out and look again. And then you notice a little teeny tree, right? Yeah. A little small tree is that like secondary, like you may not, even though it's the brighter part of the image, which usually attracts attention, you may not notice it right away, which I didn't the first time I saw it. And then you see it, and it's kind of secondary discovery, which I love images where there's like this delayed discovery. And you see something else which is really important in the image, but you may not see it exactly the first moment you looked at the image. And so I love that about the image. Black and white, I think, was a great choice. It's such a complex scene. I think he handled it so well. And again, an image where like I could find these conditions and these trees. I would hope I could find an image which would be comparable, but Tiago just really, in my eyes, did an amazing job all around. Just the entire image to me works very well.
Yeah, Tiago Mateus, I'd never heard of this guy before, but I checked out his work once you submitted this one, and this one is awesome. I can totally see why you chose this. I'm also a big fan of forest scenes, tree scenes, and this is super unique.
Such a great sense of depth. Obviously the fog helps out with that, but just the tonalities, everything's really just, to me, really good.
I think it's even more impressive that it's black and white, because I think in a lot of forest scenes, the subtle color contrast kind of help to add that dimension in depth. But when you when you make it black and white, it's even harder to create that, and he definitely did. So really impressive image, especially handled or processed in black and white. Really like it.
Yeah, absolutely. It just kind of like it just grabbed me. I just happened to be scrolling. I saw, I was like, oh my God, this image is amazing. Went to his website and found it in better quality on his website. And yeah, he's got great work.
So good. Yeah. To find like directional light when it's foggy like that's pretty darn unique.
Super difficult to process too. Sunlight with fog is always super hard, especially if you're working in color, but still, even just the contrast aspect of it.
Yeah.
And it's just really super clean. I mean, it's clean all the way through it. It's very detailed, and the shadows and the highlights and the detail is phenomenal.
It's got that super like ethereal painterly look too.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I want to say, like, you do see a lot of trees and foggy images, but when they work so well. And this one just felt a little bit more unique than many. And I just fell in love with it the first time I saw it. This is a great image.
Super good find, Bollino.
Thank you.
Yeah, super good find.
Yeah, I was pretty impressed with your selection.
Well, thanks. Again, there's so many. I was trying to remember. I was trying to think of images, and I couldn't remember. I stopped saving images on, I just stopped doing that sort of stuff. And so I remember people's names and, like Patrick and Matt. But to discover a new photographer was a great outcome for me from this whole experience of being asked to come on, because I was definitely looking for images. And I found this one.
Nice.
Sho.
This guy's got great stuff. We featured him on the first episode as well. I've been a fan of his work for a while.
It's incredible.
Yeah. I think when I discovered Sho, and there's a few other Japanese photographers, just by looking at his profile and linking to his friends' profiles, and there's a great movement going on in Japan right now. I think in photography, at least I'm becoming more aware of, at least.
Right.
Quality work, often intimate landscapes or landscapes. I could have picked any number of images from Sho.
Everything he does is so refined and tasteful and unique, and it's like nothing you've seen before, and so well done.
Yeah. And so I want to highlight him, as well as just encouraging other people to look at the Japanese photographers who are kind of coming of age right now, because there's some really great work being done. And I'm sure I've only scratched the surface, but here, the obvious thing to me is just a color contrast: green on pink, red, or like kind of soft pastel-y pinks and reds. I love in the background just how, the shadow sides, it seems, of the semi-eroded. I'm not sure if it's a badland. The thing is, what am I looking at? Is this a badland or a mountain, or what exactly am I looking at?
I assume this is in Japan, but yeah, it kind of looks like some kind of badland scene or something. I was kind of thrown off by that. Yeah,
it's such a juxtaposition of like almost like a desert sort of or a semi-arid element in the background, to it seems almost like an alpine area in the front with the trees, which are rather short. So it's just this weird juxtaposition of elements, not weird in a bad way, weird in a good way, unusual, and the color contrast, and then within the background, looking at the blue color scheme thrown in against the rest of the background. I mean, there's so much to enjoy for me. Just really love the image. But Sho's work as a whole is what's so impressive. So this is just one of a number of just incredible images that he has in his portfolio. So definitely spend time with Sho's work, go to his website, go to his IG account, or wherever. He's got amazing work, and I look forward to seeing his images in the future for sure.
Yeah, every time I see a new image from him on Instagram, it just makes me want to go to Japan even more.
Yeah.
And before, it wasn't even on my radar, but after his work, and I think Mark Davis is his name, and then Photo Shin.
Yeah, Photo Shin.
Yeah, a few guys over there. I'm just wow, it looks amazing. Like for forest photography, especially.
Yeah. Japan is, I think, if it could be. I really want to go there as well. I've wanted to go there for a long time. David Ward has a lot of great work from Japan, I believe. It's David Ward. And so it's Hokkaido. It's just seems to be tons of potential for scenes that I enjoy photographing. And so that's high on my list. If I could go anywhere, Japan's probably the top 3.
Sounds like a group trip.
Let's do it.
Yeah, that does sound like something right there. That sounds like something.
Yeah, a good friend of mine spends like the better part of August every year in Japan. He's been doing it probably for like 17, maybe like 20 years now. He just came back and he's just like, there's like a lot of photography opportunities in Japan. I think you would enjoy it. Like,
yeah.
Sounds like a road show. We need to go over there and check out the Brews as well.
The Brews and the Views.
Brews and the Views.
And I trend high on sake photography, so
we do know that.
Nature sake. You drinking something, Mike DiMiola?
I am, yes, sir. So this is actually one of, I think I had this on the show, the Mortalis, even more Hydra.
Even more Hydra.
Yeah, even more Hydra, right? Yep, my bad. So
that's an older one. We got those a while back.
Yep, sour ale, raspberry peach plum. There we go.
Raspberry, peach, plum, and coconut and white chocolate. And the first version had hazelnut.
Yeah, you're right. Yep.
But this one didn't for some reason.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I think that's 7%.
Yes,
it's funny. I can remember like beer names.
Yeah,
like,
how do you remember this shit?
And,
Jesus Christ,
I don't know how. But then I'll meet somebody and forget. Like I'll forget like my friend's like girlfriend's name or something, or like people that. Like,
hey, keep it clean, Bennett.
My mind is so selective,
Come on.
Selective memory.
You got your priorities straight, though. I do like that.
Welcome to the show, baby.
Yeah, if it's a beer I like,
kids' birthdays, that kind of stuff.
If it's a beer I like, I never forget the name or like ingredients, even like all the hops and stuff or percent. Or if it's one that I hate, I'll never forget it. But
that's pretty remarkable what you just did there, because you did call out the last 2 ingredients on that. You knew the ABV, and I don't know, when was the last time you looked at this can? Probably like 3 months ago or something.
I had my last one a while back.
Hey,
fucking savant.
Hey,
when he crushes them on his head, it gets him into
Hey, this fucking
that works. Oh man, that is so good.
This fucking guy knows what month they're released in. Oh yeah, that was this, and this, and it's coming back in September. What? What?
It's like Rain Man.
Yeah, it's so
Rain much.
Yeah, 376. 376.
Oh yeah, 24 more days at 6 p.m. it'll release.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Walmart.
I can't remember like anything else though. I swear I have such poor memory, but when it's beer, I don't know. My body has its priorities, it knows what it needs.
There you go. Got it straight.
We were just like shouting out that donut release. Hey, it's coming. Boom. Next week, it's there. I'm like, are you kidding me, dude? Go fuck yourself. Insane. This guy's a savage.
Total savage.
I'm a beer scout, dude. I gotta offer something. If I can't get good beer for you guys, I gotta be able to point you guys towards a good beer at least.
Dude, you have got that down. Love it. All right, what's next, guys? Let's see something else. Oh, yeah. Damn.
This guy's work is sick. I've been
so sick.
Yeah, I've been following him for a while, and I'm always impressed. I'm glad you chose something from him.
Yeah, just this image of it's so much going on. Kind of like it's like organized chaos, right? It's just kind of these massive swirls, so many different striations, all going different directions, but there's this cohesiveness to it. Every area of the frame has interest if you want to spend some time exploring all 4 corners. You can just follow the swirls around. What I love is just the inclusion of the color, like just like those little pops of color. So without that, the image is totally different. It's almost more abstract. There's less of a sense of scale. With those leaves thrown in, I know the scale of the image as well.
Right.
Just so dynamic. Just those yellows against the black and white striations and swirls work so well. Again, I don't know what, in terms of framing, without knowing what was there, like it looks really solid. He did a great job of framing the image. It's just so evocative and engrossing. And this is an image where if you are doom scrolling on a social media platform on your phone, this is the sort of image which is going to make me stop and want to like just linger for more than like 5/100ths of a second. So again, he's a guy, go to his website and visit his work as well. Like all these people, please go to their websites. That's the best way to see work for anyone. But yeah, big fan of this image, and it's a stunner. It's a beauty. It's a beautiful.
Yeah. Feel free to check out my website too, buy some prints and.
On this one, Bollino, I love how it looks like a black and white image, but then you sprinkle in that color. I mean, for me, that's like I just really I see the color in the middle, then I go searching around the image looking for the rest of it, and just the texture and the swirls and everything. This would be such a badass killer print. Mikey D, come on.
Don't even start with me.
I know you got wall space. Hey, I know you got wall space, you bastard.
I've been buying a lot of prints lately.
I know you got space, brother.
Mike's defense,
I don't have space. That's part of my problem.
In Mike's defense, he ordered the collector, the super deluxe VIP luxury collector's edition of my new book with all 5 prints. So
it's going to get hand delivered by Eric Bennett himself.
Oh shit!
To my door.
Hey, an excuse to drive out to the East Coast. I might actually consider that.
There you go.
Fill up the U-Haul with like 5,000 cans of fight-ins.
Hey, I'm your wingman.
Refrigerated.
I'm your wingman. I'll swing right through Salt Lake, bro. We got it.
Dumb and Dumber road trip.
Oh yeah, I got the dog van loaded up.
Wait, Eric, did you pre-release a book already? A new one?
So by the time this comes out, but yeah, tomorrow it goes officially on sale for pre-order. My next book.
Good deal. I'll try to spread the word.
That cover looks. I'm so stoked.
Cover's insane.
I am so stoked to look at that book. I mean, your book was just absolutely phenomenal. The last one and this one, I am stoked to take a look at that bad boy. Maybe we'll review a little bit of that on a show or something. Man,
I don't know, man. Conflict of interest. I can't be promoting my own stuff.
I don't know, dude. There's some shit. I know there's some shit in there. Nothing that's been released.
Well, he's going to fire us so we can start our own damn podcast.
Exactly.
That's right. Little side piece.
That's a great image. I mean, it's sometimes these things are like naturally like monochrome. You know, the water is just so dark, and like without those leaves, I mean, it's phenomenal. But when the leaves are in there, it's just
Jimmy, we were talking about me.
I'm trying to get away from
Back to the
Jimmy, we had some Bennett momentum going.
Let's go back. Let's bring it back to me.
You can edit all that shit out, Bennett. Let's just, we need to pimp that ride a little bit more. Come on.
I'm trying to keep it G-rated here.
So Martin Gonzalez, I don't know if we featured any of his images, but he's a buddy of mine, and he's coming out in like 3 days to go backpacking with me and Brent Clark and Alberto Rodriguez.
Sweet.
Yeah. Glad he chose one of his images.
Yeah, it's super nice.
Yeah.
Super clean.
Death Valley, it looks like.
Yeah, Death Valley, I'm pretty sure it has to be.
You had a super nice that latest Death Valley gallery release you did.
Yeah, that was really good.
Oh, cool.
Some bangers in there.
Yeah, you went balls deep.
Thanks.
I'm
guys.
always impressed when someone can produce something like novel from the sand dunes, or like, from Death Valley. I mean, it's one thing to go to like super remote places that no one's been to out there, but also just to revisit like the iconic spots and still come away with something brand new that feels different. You did a really great job with that.
Well, thanks for saying that, man. I do appreciate that.
Yeah.
I do what I do. This image, like, so if you've been to Death Valley hiking these canyons, you've probably seen something similar where there's like this shaft of light coming through. And I know I've attempted images using these same sort of elements with the light and the different walls interweaving and the background striations in the wall in the background.
You probably totally ruined it.
Totally, because I suck, right? No, but he obviously did a great job handling, in my eyes, all aspects of the image. So the tonality, the shadows, the highlights are all in check. The composition really works for me as well. Without the light shaft coming in, I feel like it really wouldn't be a scene worth shooting. So I think the photographing, so the light shaft is a pivotal element that he used to perfection. And just things like the shadow detail, the shadow colors work really well for my sort of sense of aesthetics. And the other thing is square format. Like, of all the aspect ratios, 1:1 is like my least natural. I don't see in 1:1.
I think it's one of my favorites, but it's the hardest for me to work with for my own photographs.
Yeah. And so
like whenever I try to crop down to 1:1, it never works. I have to do like 4:5 or something.
Yeah. And I think maybe it is just actually maybe doing it in camera in the field. Like, I never do that, I never crop in camera. I'm always just.
I can't do that with my camera.
You can't?
Nah, I can't change ratios with Sony. You shoot with Nikon, right?
Yeah, I just went to the Z7 system.
And that has like 1:1.
I'm pretty sure it does. I'm 90% sure more that it does.
Yeah.
But since I don't do it in the field, I keep my process very simple. Like, I don't want to like go into the field and like fiddle around with menus and changing aspect ratios. Like, I just want to photograph. And there'll be times where I feel like a 5:7 or a 4:5 would work better. And I can kind of like, I know that when I get back to my computer, I'm going to recognize that this should be a crop.
Right.
But 1:1, I just so far.
It's really hard to visualize 1:1.
Yeah.
I always think I think it's a square, but it's always a little wider. Like 4:5 instead of an actual square. Like, the square is pretty thin. It almost feels like a vertical. Like,
yeah.
It's deceiving.
But think about this. This is a 1:1, but it's near far dynamic, which to me, typically 1:1s are more minimalistic or without the dynamic tension. And so I didn't recognize this as a 1:1 until after I sent it to you. I was like, this is a 1:1. That makes it even more.
Great point.
In my eye. So just a great image. Again, I love Death Valley. I've seen elements like this, trying to arrange them, trying to work with them in the field. I've been unsuccessful. Just like Matt, just like Patrick McDonald, he saw them and arranged them and nailed it. And my tip of the hat to him is just a beautiful image all the way around.
Yeah, and if I was like, when I'm shooting slot cannons, at least once I see like direct light, I pretty much avoid it. Like, I really don't try to shoot it for the most part. Sometimes I'll mess around with it, but yeah, he did a really great job working with it and keeping, the shadow detail and the reflected light on the left side.
I was gonna say the reflected light on the left side works. It's a very crucial ingredient in this image as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is like deceivingly simple too, where like it looks like really basic and simple, like at first glance, but then as you look at the image more, it's like, there's this like nice like kind of fanning arrangement of like these like triangles that kind of spiral around, and like there's way more to it than you think at first. Like it's an image that pulls you in and keeps your interest, because like you see more and more as you look at it, I feel like.
Yeah. You should ask them which canyon this is, because I have a feeling I know what it is. And just not for me to go there, but for me to kind of like see if I'm actually correct about which canyon this is. So
I see, like, I'm horrible with names too, but it could be Marble Canyon. I've been up that one, and I think it looks just like it.
Is that the one that's more of a drive? That's not the one right close to Mesquite Dunes, right?
Exactly. Like, you drive up and then you just walk a little bit, and then like there's a lot of cool like rock and stuff. So like that back layer in the background kind of reminds me of that.
Exactly. That's what gave it away for me as well. Yeah.
But who knows?
Dang.
Wow.
I'm gonna let you pronounce her name, Bollino, since you chose the image.
Yeah, I was actually meant to look up how you would pronounce the name. I think it's Xuan. I could be totally wrong, and I hope I'm not. But again, if you don't know of Xuan's work, please go to her website. Please go check out her Instagram or wherever it may be. Definitely one of my favorite photographers I've discovered in the last year for my own self. And this image, I know when it came out, like I think a lot of people were like, holy cow, this is a phenomenal image. And there's so much to be said about it. I know, Eric,
when I look at this one, yeah, sorry to interrupt, but
go for it.
When I look at this one, my first thought is that it's inverted. But the fact that the tree is black and not white tells you that it's not inverted. So it's just like, is it a snow scene? And what's the black stuff coming from? Like, is that grass that's like exposed or something? Like, it's such an intriguing image. I think it was featured like in Elements as like a cover or something like that. And I found out about Xuan's work because she attended a critique group that I hosted with Richard Martin earlier this year.
Right.
But it was one of those moments where I was like, what can I even offer you in terms of critique? Like, your stuff is so unique and amazing, and like, I kind of felt like inadequate because there really wasn't a whole lot I could give her in terms of suggestions or advice on her images because it's so amazing.
Kind of like when I did your critique group, dude. It was the same thing for me. Like, you didn't really have too much to offer me. Same thing.
Yes, exactly. Of course.
But yeah, I'm so glad she attended because that's when I found out about her work. I didn't know about her at all before. And yeah, her stuff is incredible.
Incredible. And she's got some very playful work. I actually asked for about 2 images to feature, and Eric said choose one. The other one's also very creative, but very, very different than this one. But for this one, like, would I choose to put that tree to the right of center that far? Probably not. But that's because I'm not a very good photographer, right? So what she's got going on is it's crazy sense of, in my eyes, look, the balance is kind of very unique here. I feel like this image is rather balanced.
Well, and the lines are like going everywhere, you know? I wouldn't even know what to do with those.
But here's where my eye goes. So my eye goes tree, then the white pyramid at the top that kind of anchors things on the right side. But then the lines go everywhere. But I feel like there's this motion going upper left out of the frame, going to the left side of the frame, which my eye just kind of directs to as well. And so instead of being like empty space, which feels the same as the rest of the scene, there's that directionality of just purely going right to the left side of the frame, perpendicular, which is often what you don't really want to do, that for me works for some reason.
It's breaking like a ton. Like, I love images that break like all the rules, but they work. Like, the photographer knew what they were doing. They just went on their own.
Did she know what she was doing? I don't know. But if she did,
for sure did. Because you can't pull it off unless you have that vision, you know, like it has to be intentional. Because like breaking the rules for the sake of breaking the rules doesn't always work. Like, sometimes placing it on the third right in the crosshairs is the best thing, or, you know, something. It just depends on the scene and what it calls for. But that's why it's so important to really pay attention to what you're shooting and let it dictate your composition, the lighting, everything, because every scene is so different. It's going to require different treatment in all different aspects of the process.
Absolutely, yeah. I believe these are farmers' fields. I think on our website there's a series of images from these are farm fields. Obviously, after maybe the first snow or after a snow against bare ground. It's such another image which makes you just pause and kind of ponder it and just want to know more about it and what it is exactly, and it makes me want to get into the photographer's mind more. And that's also really intriguing to me about images. If I want to know what the photographer's process was and thinking was on an image, automatically that's a successful image. Like, no matter if it's, you know, extremely grabbing or just piquing my curiosity. But I'm sure I would have centered that tree. And I think her choice not to was a much, much better choice.
Yeah, more interesting. The tension.
Yeah.
You know.
Tension. Like tension's such a good thing.
Intentional tension.
Like the top quarter of the frame is a little bit like lighter and brighter than the bottom, or at least the dark spaces, the dark areas. It's a little lighter and brighter than the bottom. Just that subtle difference, again, is a form of contrast, which kind of helps with the overall image. If that top was the same darkness values as the bottom dark areas, I feel like my eye would get lost. So
yes.
It's handled so well. God, it's a good image.
It's so good.
Yeah. Her work is amazing. Like the other image I thought was fantastic too.
I mean, everything that she does is great. So it's so hard to choose like one image from photographers like that.
It's impossible.
I've been scrolling while you guys were talking, and you absolutely nailed it. Her stuff is fantastic. And the word tension as a representation of placement and how the treatment on this image is spot on.
Yeah.
And it really helps, I think, too, with the sense of space in the image. There's a pretty tremendous sense of space in it that I think is really engaging. One of the more engaging aspects of the image. So yeah, I think that's definitely something that really kind of draws you into it.
Yeah, and it's
I think the lighter part at top does the same thing.
Yeah, it's super graphic, and you forget that it's a photograph. It looks like a painting or like
a charcoal painting or charcoal sketch.
Yeah, pencil work and
yes, that's excellent.
And look all the different directions those lines are leading. It's like it's chaotic, but it just works beautifully.
Cohesive.
My head is like spinning in a good way.
Yep, for sure.
This would be a wall hanger. This is something
I think that's just the beard, Jimmy.
Hey, Mikey D, you hear that? That's Bollino calls this a wall hanger.
There you go. Mike, you're
on the tab.
Mike,
you need to respond to Mike.
You're gonna have to have this on your wall the next time you're on here, because if you don't, you're gonna catch all sorts of shit for it.
That's a fantastic segue.
Did you hear Jimmy's audio just now?
Yeah,
yes.
That was...
Holy shit! He was going sideways.
That was a great laugh track, though.
Oh man,
that was. He's got that mixing board. He's got that mixing board with the smoke machine.
Oh, Jimmy. It's like the Joker or something.
It's so sinister.
Oh.
So Anna Morgan, God, she's so good. And there's, again, just like Xuan or Yuan, like it's just so many images I could have shared. But the title of this is so we talk about the image, and I think the title actually really fits in really well. So the image, this is cracked mud, and we've seen a ton of cracked mud images, right? But this is a little bit different in the fact that there are large plates, and there's medium-sized plates, and there's small plates, and even smaller plates. The sense of scale and like the scaling of it all, I find very intriguing. And so I like how the less bold what do you want to call them? The tiles themselves are like they're on the edge, and the middle is really occupied by these smaller ones. And there's a pretty obvious diagonal coming through from the bottom right to the mid-center left that kind of pulls the eye through. And again, my eye wants to wander around the scene and look at the different size ratios of the different tiles against each other. But then what was a sealer for me is the title. And without it being on the screen, I think I may say it's wrong, but I think it's something about imperfectly perfect. So then
like
you notice
perfect imperfections or something like that.
I think that might be it. So you notice the imperfections, which the obvious one is that a couple of those tiles are popped out and they're lying on top of the playa there.
Those are probably my kids. They love to pull those things out and throw them around.
Pull them out, frisbees. Great idea. And it just kind of leads to a larger conversation around it's okay to include imperfections in images. I think it's getting better. I think there was this idea towards really like making things so sanitized and perfect that it kind of removed the rawness of nature.
I was just thinking about that. Like, I don't know if it's like just the people I choose to follow, you know, like I'm only seeing work that I like because I only follow stuff that I like right now. Like my feed is very well curated at this point because I unfollowed a bunch of people that just weren't doing it for me.
Oh, is that why you unfollowed me? Okay, thanks, dude.
But I do feel like photography is turning in the opposite direction where like, yeah, everything was like so polished. Everything had to be like the most epic, colorful. Fucking Jimmy.
James loves it. He agrees.
Everything had to be like the most epic, like colorful, like insane sunset, sunrise. Or, you know, everything was like so over the top for a while, like 2015, 2016 when I first started. Yeah. And then now it's like been going in the other direction and everybody's like kind of taking pride in like doing less in post-processing. Like there's kind of this like perceived value of, you know, and probably like the Natural Landscape Photography Awards have helped with that. Like other stuff has influenced that, but like, you know, people are appreciating like things that are mostly done in camera and that portray like actual natural subjects and, you know, including those imperfections rather than just cloning them out or getting rid of them. But in a way that doesn't destroy or like ruin the flow of the image and stuff. Like it doesn't harm it at all. Mm-hmm. I think that's super cool because it just portrays nature in a more organic way. And it feels more like nature instead of like CGI, you know.
For sure.
If you walk around, you're going to see this, and you probably can photograph it. And she said,
but it doesn't feel ordinary either. Like it feels very realistic, and it's very honest, and yet it's still artistic and even more creative because it is so much harder to like include those imperfections instead of just getting rid of them, and still making the image work. I feel like. Yeah.
And I feel like for a photographer like Anna, like I know I've met her once, and Eric, I think you said you kind of know her more than I do. Like one thing that stands out is her intelligence. She's a very intelligent person. She can speak to her craft and process like very well. And so obviously this is very intentional. So knowing her and knowing her work, that wasn't like take an image and be like, oh, I forgot that there was a couple of tiles popped out. This was intentional. Right. And in some ways it's a statement. And I love the fact that it's kind of a statement. Like, we don't need to strive towards perfection. Think about Japan. Like you were saying, like everything needed to be big landscapes and big sunsets. And, you know, back when Patagonia and Iceland were first coming on in terms of the international stage, like, but now Japan is, I think more and more photographers are realizing that a place like Japan has so much potential, but maybe
or lots of other places that aren't iconic, you know, because like the more you can see, the more you can appreciate of any given landscape, right? Like, I think a lot of photographers are less concerned with where they go, and more concerned with like how they see wherever they happen to be, which I really like. I like that trend.
That's a very good statement.
It really is.
Exactly. There's kind of like, you know, a certain sense of like pride or like respect in like, instead of going to like the bucket list locations, it's more like being able to do more with less.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I really like that.
Absolutely. And, you know, it's kind of like when we think about a portfolio or a body of work, like to have a mixture of all sorts of scenes, to me is the goal, you know? So yes, photograph this. Yes, when it's conducive, photograph the big landscapes or the intimate landscapes or the abstracts or whatever it may be. But like when I see a photographer who can do it all, I'm like, that is a well-skilled, this person sees nature and sees landscapes so well. And it's always so impressive to me as a fellow photographer. And Anna's one of the people.
Yeah, she's got a lot of great stuff. Super nice person too. Boom.
Oh, Michael. Shut that. It's all blurry.
Who's this dog?
I can't have you on here without sharing some of your stuff. I was going through your website looking for stuff, and dude, you got a lot of great stuff on there now. I was having a hard time picking anything because I wanted to share it all.
Two things. One, this is me ripping off Patrick McDonald horribly.
Nah.
Two, This is a chance. I met Adrian Klein, who is a local photographer from Portland with me, who's a member of like Photo Cascadia, long-term photographer, and he's a neighbor. We discovered this during COVID. He's a neighbor who lives like 10 blocks away, and so he and I get together once in a while to go photograph. And I was meeting him there, and this is the last bit of fog, just whatever, evaporating away from this section of trees. And he was photographing it. So this is an Adrian Klein composition. I do need to definitely make sure I give him credit for looking at this and evaluating it and seeing its potential. I showed up, he was already on a tripod, the camera. So I took an image of it, but this is really, I need to give Adrian a big shout out for this one.
Has he shared this one? Because I don't remember seeing it.
I think like he did. Yeah, I think he did. Yeah. And Bowman, this is the same creek on the Washington side where we always go all the time.
Oh, really?
This is like the backyard photo location for us.
We love this spot.
You know that little parking area past the bridge? This is right there. Right there.
Oh, dude. Yeah. I love it. That's one of my favorite spots in the gorge.
Yeah. It's so hard to make work, but it's such a great spot.
Well, the trees here are nothing extraordinary for the gorge, you know, like they look like anywhere else, but the lighting here is just totally what makes it. And yeah, I liked your composition, everything. I was really jealous of this one when I first saw it.
Yeah,
super nice.
But yes, through you, it's Adrian's photo, so we should have had Adrian on as a guest because
yeah. Hey, get the fuck out of here, Mike.
Yeah.
Give him a call.
We'll call him up. Swing by in about 5 minutes.
Yeah, he's pull him into the game. Pull him into the game.
Yeah.
Super nice, Mike.
Oh yeah.
God. Yeah, what's up with this one? Jimmy chose this one. He's not here now because he dropped out. I don't know what's going on with him tonight, but
this is from the camp at the very beginning of the Waiwash trek in Peru.
I was thinking it was Peru, yeah.
Yeah. And the Waiwash trek is in Peru. It's a high altitude trek. Most days you're going between 14 and 16. Basically a pass every day. I think it was an 11-day trek. And my buddy got sick. He got a bug. And so we spent 2 nights at the trailhead, the start of the trip. But you're looking at this. And so there's this big, looks like a lenticular cloud kind of forming over these peaks. And I just kind of like watched the light slowly kind of evolve and everything, and took this shot. And I loved it. It's probably the best shot from the trip, honestly. And once this cloud evaporated, there was 9 days in a row of nothing but blue skies, right? So this amazing mountain range was still so beautiful, but it's definitely not the best photography conditions because the light's so harsh at altitude. And the camps tended to be in the valleys where you really didn't get great views of the higher peaks. So I quickly went into trekking mode and away from photography mode in this trek and just became more opportunistic. This is like one of 2 or 3 I think I got in 11 days on the trek. Mm-hmm. And I don't do black and white often, but it seemed to work really well for this one.
Well, I feel like that was a great choice here because if I try to imagine it, I feel like the conditions like probably weren't that crazy. Like it's probably just like direct light, blue sky. But then like once you turned it black and white, it makes it feel so much more dramatic and accentuates that curving cloud over the peaks. And yeah, this one is super unique for me. This was also one that caught my eye.
Cool. Thanks.
I almost picked this one as well. I mean, I really like this one, Bollino. I mean, it's really unique, and I remember when you went on this trip, and I was just like, oh man, that really resonated with me.
Yeah. I want to go back to Peru for sure.
Hey, let's go. Figure it out.
I'll do it. Not that hard.
Yeah, these mountains seem pretty crazy.
They are crazy. It's like this very narrow range. It's like a fin, like a shark's fin sticking up, and just erupts from the landscape, going to like 21,000 feet, the highest peaks. Some of the hardest peaks in South America to climb, like Jurishinka, is I think just saw an ascent a couple of years ago, and before that was like 10, 15 years before someone could climb it. So really challenging mountaineering down there. I think besides Patagonia, this is the spot in South America that I want to go the most.
I feel like I'm hearing Mikey D in the background.
I was thinking that too, but it was just Eric.
I was pouring some water.
We all know his stream is not that impressive, so he's pouring water.
I was like, that didn't sound like a bucket, so I was thinking, okay, either it's not like really bringing it home tonight or something. I think Bollino, I can, like, from the right to the left, I can see Bennett carrying a pretty decent sized cooler up that thing for us.
Yes.
Maybe 12 to 16 beers.
Yes.
And just kind of flexing the whole way.
Should we tell Bennett you can actually hire mules? Like,
yeah, just say, hey, I got it, guys. I got it. No.
We'll get down there. We'll put our packs of mules. We won't mention the Bennett. He'll be carrying a cooler full of beers over these 16,000-foot passes.
Yeah, he's like, I'm good, guys. I'm good, guys.
We'll put a day pack on.
Yeah. What a savage. I can't believe, Bennett, you didn't share that pic of the cans. I was looking for it. I didn't have it, but it was like that pyramid we built on that trip was absolutely fantastic.
On this trip right here, yeah.
So this one's mine. This one's mine. If you have it, pull it up, buddy. I love that shot. But I remember there's two things about this image. One, it's fucking awesome. Two, that bastard was probably 50 feet from me when he was shooting this, and I
shot like this same spot, but like a completely different composition that was just lame. And when I saw this, I was like, you son of a bitch.
I know, dude. He rolled up on me and said, hey, he tells me after the light's gone.
I was shooting it like way wider, and it just didn't have the same look at all.
He's like, hey, dude, I may have just shot the best image of the trip.
Yeah,
that I've ever taken in my entire life.
Yeah, I'm like, hey, thanks for helping me out, man. Appreciate it. I already suck, but I really,
just standing on your head, Paul.
Yeah, I mean, I was like, hey, I could have like just thrown down my tracks right behind you, like I normally do.
This is a rare image where, like, when I photographed, I was like thinking, okay, this one's gonna work. And I almost never know that. This is one that worked. I knew it's going to work in my mind. But obviously light's so important. So the angles, the diagonals working together.
Yeah, that
like, to me, there's some things I wish
I had. Like
the light was
upside down.
Go on.
No, just like that upside down triangle, and then the tree like intersecting it because it's lit up against the shadow.
Yeah. And I photographed about 4 or 5 different variations of this composition, but this is the one that worked the best. So I did some, experimentation with different, focal lengths and positioning and framings, but it worked. But then, Eric, I photographed a tree near this spot, and you said, hey, I photographed the same tree, and you sent me the image you photographed of it, and I was like, you bastard, like, you photographed it so much better than I did. And I was like, because you have like, you used them in there's like another tree I think you incorporated with it, and it just works so much better. So like, sometimes you see things, sometimes you don't. The important thing is just to keep on looking and just looking. Just gotta keep on looking for inputs.
That's one of the most interesting things about like going out and shooting with friends. Like obviously it's a good time, camping together and stuff, hanging out at night and chatting. But afterwards, seeing all the images you took, like everybody took, and how like a lot of times like you notice the same things, but then you saw them in like such different ways, or they'll have seen something that you completely failed to notice, and you're just like, what? Like, where was that? And how did you, like, that's not even the same place, like I think that's always so interesting.
Yeah.
There are a lot of images from this trip. Probably at least 5 or 6 are in my new book. So
your new book, cool. Can't wait.
Cool.
Are they released or unreleased?
They're unreleased, yeah. So my new book has like maybe 12 images that I've released in the past that were just like classics that I needed to include because I didn't really photograph anything like similar but better than those ones. Mm-hmm. But then all the rest is brand new. I've kept it secret for this book especially.
That's hard to do.
That's great.
Good for you.
I don't know. I hang on to my stuff for a long time, so it wasn't too hard. And I also just had this vision with this book. Like I just felt like it'd make the presentation so much better. Like you open it and you're seeing things for the first time.
Yeah.
I just wanted to give people that experience. And
Well, I look forward to that guest appearance on your show discount that you're going to extend to me. Honestly, oftentimes when people say, "Hey, I'll flip you like a discount," I ignore it just to support people. So
for sure,
I'll throw in a free coaster.
Just next time you're in town, continue to supply. Wait,
I better get a free coaster.
Are you kidding me? I don't need that. I got the
you get that.
I
on
got the merch already,
market?
dude. That's from out of Oregon. You gave it to me out of Oregon, I think.
I've got Bennett coasters all over the place. I love those things.
We're gonna make some Brews and Views ones at some point.
Oh, that's a good call.
Yep.
Absolutely. No brainer.
All right, so I chose this one. So the first thing I'll say is prior to preparing for this episode, Mike, I had never been to your website. Obviously, I follow you on Instagram. You don't post a ton on there, but some. And so researching this episode, I went to your website, and it's phenomenal. The breadth of your work and the quality and quantity of your work is really remarkable, and I was really impressed by that. But as I was, taking my time scrolling through the images on your website, this one just really stood out to me. This one I definitely spent a lot more time with. I could talk about the I guess somewhat obvious things about this image that kind of drew me in, like the warm to cool, transition from the foreground to the background, and the kind of the lines that kind of pull you through the composition, which of course are always great. But the photos that always stand out to me always have that something about them that I can't really put words to, and that one definitely has this. I don't know what it is about this image that completely draws me in, and I love looking at it, which I also bought I'm going to buy a print of this. I've already set that up with Mike, so we're working through that.
Don't believe him, Bollino. Don't believe him.
No, he's already got it. He's already got an email. I already did. I can't believe you want to do an exchange for one of my shitty images, but if you want one of them, I'll send them to you.
Oh, you guys are awesome.
But
you guys are awesome.
But yeah, Bollino, if it's anything with like water droplets, make sure try to verify that it's not piss first before you buy it.
I can tell you right now, it definitely is.
We call them Mikey Buckets.
It's a fantastic image. I love it. I think it's going to look great on my wall. And again, it just has that something that I can't really describe that well, but stare at it for hours. So,
oh, Mike, you never talk about my stuff like that, man.
Yeah.
Eric, I love you, baby.
That was really good.
Well, thanks, man. I appreciate that, honestly.
Yeah, no, great. I really, really love this image.
Yeah. I think we all know.
But I'm curious. It is, you do have it, I believe, listed in your personal favorites. So, tell me a little bit about, what it is you like about it, and maybe about how you made it and all that.
Can I interject one thing?
Yeah,
I think
please.
like most about it is I was probably standing next to him.
Where?
And you guys didn't invite me?
Who's there?
There's like 2.5 hours from my house.
Yeah.
I'm down here all the time.
I don't know. The light drew me to the composition. I love the image as well. In terms of my own body work, I enjoy the image. And even though it includes this lower left corner of these, it's almost like disjointed part of the image. This part of the sloping badland, which is leading into the lower shelf of badlands there. I don't know. I think it was just one of those times where you're just reacting and thinking, and you're not overthinking, and you just photograph it, and it feels good. And that's the only way to describe it. Like, I'm not sure about you guys, but I don't typically use words to think through compositions in the field. It just feels good. It's very reactive. I'll look at the LCD for the image after it's photographed, tweak things a little bit.
I feel like a lot of times, like, something will draw me and I'll start photographing it, and then I'll start to think like more logically and like examine it more and like scrutinize things, and then I get like to a point where I'm like, it's gone. Like whatever I saw, like the essence is no longer here. It's become too sterile, and I just end up using like one of the first exposures I made of it, because like as I try to refine it too much, it loses whatever that ineffable thing was that drew me in somehow.
Yeah. And I've learned to actually, if I take an exposure and it's not like technically perfect, maybe it's that the field is not right or focus is not right, or maybe there's some movement, some handheld, I've learned to make sure I get that first take on it technically proficient before moving on.
Right.
Because of that, because so often the first take is the one that I like the best. I have a hard time talking about my own work in terms of why it works, because I don't actually sit there and study it, honestly. I don't know. I have a easier time looking at someone else's work and trying to piece together their thought pattern than recreating my own thought pattern in the field. But I think when I was looking at the warm, cold contrast, and so I include that left side, lower left side, Badland as well. And from this trip, I think this is by far the image I think that works the best. I think it's a little bit unconventional. And I think some people look at this and be like, why would you include that lower left Badland? But I don't, again, talk about imperfections and tension. I think it works here, I think, for some reason. And so I'm glad it worked for you, Mike, honestly. Like I think, it's like you present work to the public and you put stuff on your website, and because you enjoy it and you have an understanding of an audience, but at the same time, you should just put on your website what you enjoy for yourself, and which tells about your experience in the field and your like take on it and the way you interpreted the experience and the lighting and the elements in the field. And that's all you do, right? You just kind of present yourself out there. So I'm glad it worked for you, man. Seriously.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it sounds like, from your description, it was strictly a feel thing. And, that's what I'm getting from it. I can't describe it any better than that.
Yeah. Well, I'll get back to you on the exchange, because I definitely want to do it, man. So I've been really busy the last few days. So
take your time.
I have a couple images. I will it down to a few images of yours. So I just need to pick the one I think is going to work best. And my boss, my wife is the boss, so I need to make sure it's going to work for her as well, because
Oh God, I gotta get 2 Bollino's approvals. Jesus.
Yeah. Double stamp.
Don't pick anything with water droplets.
You never know. It's kind of yellow.
Love it.
The safe route. I just had to throw in this one because this one is just outrageous.
It's fantastic.
It's insane.
Yeah. Look at that lighting. Nice control, dude.
Yeah.
It's one for
fog and sunlight. That is so hard to handle, like the warmth and the contrast, and I don't know. I just love like the separation here, the little pine trees in the foreground, and like the layering and
so balanced too.
Everything is so, like I would kill to be able to shoot this, and I don't know. I love this one.
Thanks, man.
Fantastic image.
This is Mount Rainier, and in the opposite direction, Mount Rainier looms large, and it was looming above the fog. Obviously, it's a foggy morning. And two things. One, you turn around because, I was with another photographer and we were both photographing the mountain, and it was actually very workable as a scene. But you feel the sun kind of burning through, and you turn around and you want to make sure you're looking at all directions at all times. So, yeah, this came out. But the other thing is that, in my mind, it already wanted to incorporate a foggy scene with a very bright sun, like a blasting sun coming through the scene. And I couldn't have found a better opportunity to kind of like make good on that idea, that concept.
Was this file very difficult to process? Like, did you have lens flare stuff or any issues?
Color was the weirdest thing, and I let color... getting the color right in the foreground, once I got that there, I allowed the color in the background with the light and the fog to stay kind of, to me, it's a little bit greenish yellow. It's not like, I don't know. I let it go, but that was the hardest thing. And then I think, I can't remember the processing. It's been a few years now. But I think working on the sun, I kind of used some dodging and burning to make the sun less or more like just nebulous and more like just fanned out instead of being like a really bright spot. And so that's all it was. It was just kind of, again, spacing of the trees and framing and proportionality. And yeah, so I love Mount Rainier. So to have this image of Mount Rainier, like, it's not of Mount Rainier, but at Mount Rainier.
Awesome.
That's one of the reasons why it's my favorite. I also love the subalpine forests in the Northwest. Like, this is just some rudimentary, this is just some meadow in an area known for meadows, but like the meadows and the trees in the Northwest are unbelievable. And there's certain mountains and certain sections of the range where I just feel like the subalpine forest is just magical. So yeah, this holds a lot of meaning for me on many levels. So yeah, glad you enjoyed it, Eric. Seriously.
Yeah, great stuff, Bollino. Glad we could have you on the show. Did you pour another beer? Or is that still the first one?
This is number 2. Yeah.
What you didn't? You gotta let us know.
The flow was just going.
Announce that bad boy.
I'm sure Paul knows this brewery. It's Everybody's Brewing. It's out in what's called White Salmon, Washington, which is across the river from Hood River, Oregon, which is a famous kind of like windsurfing, kiteboarding. The new sport is foiling, right, Paul?
Yeah.
What's it called?
Yep.
Foiling. And then mountain biking. It's like one of those towns you get multiple sports in one day. Skiing.
What?
But anyway.
Back up. Foiling.
Foil. With
foil, like wind foil. It's like this wing they hold, and you're kind of on this almost like a stand-up paddleboard.
Everybody knows what it is. He's from the East Coast. I'm sorry, he's landlocked or whatever. Who knows what he's doing up there? But
I'm from the East Coast. I know what it is.
Yeah,
Jimmy's pretty out of touch.
I've never done it, but it looks fantastic because it looks really. Once you get up and the board's up out of the water, like it looks really. Smooth,
it's so cool.
Like really silky smooth, like game powder.
So it's windsurfing.
Yeah, but you're kind of out of the water. The board's out of the water. The other
I'm cracked.
It extends down from the board, like goes down. It's like a T-shaped, and then when you get fast enough, it kind of elevates, and so your board's above the water,
like levitating, kind of.
You can. I've never done it. I can see people just go from like rough to like smooth.
Yeah. Hey, the future's now.
Looks great. Anyway, back to the beer.
Yeah.
Well, it's stirred up. It's a hazy IPA, and it has Azaka, Cashmere Mosaic, and Strata hops.
Strata.
Azaka.
Love that.
ABV is 7.0, and it's a hazy. And what I love about it, it's a new discovery. It's so smooth, and like I never really bought in the mouthfeel, but this thing has such a silky, smooth mouthfeel to it that it's so drinkable, and it's delicious. It's not bitter. It's just so smooth to me. So I really enjoy this one. Stir it up. It gets like 3.8 on Untappd, so people don't love it all that much, but I enjoy it. So
yeah, it's funny how like apart from flavor, like the mouth feel and like the smell can play such an important part in your enjoyment of it. Because like if I have an IPA, even if it tastes great, if it's like thin, I'm just like not crazy about it. It's not as satisfying to me. I like them to be thick and creamy and have that nice pillowy mouthfeel for sure.
For me, that works the best because if it's thin and tinny, I would describe it as being tinny because of my smell issue and taste reduction. It just feels really astringent almost. So like those really bright, tinny, non-juicy, dank, syrupy beers kind of don't really work for me too well.
That's such a great spot, though. I mean, it's really centrally located right there in the gorge. Great food options, really killer brewery. I love that spot. Yeah, and a lot of stuff that they brew, they don't even can. So you can go there and really get some nice stuff that you really can't get anywhere else. So it's a good spot.
I need to go.
Good call, Bollino.
And the town of White Salmon, because it's so close to everything. And it's not Hood River. Like if I can move anywhere, I think that'd be where I'd want to move. Outside Portland. So yeah.
What do you guys think about my new drip?
Hey, I get it. Dude.
Iceland.
That's an Iceland special right there. Where'd you get that bad boy?
It's the funniest thing because me and my buddy, like a childhood friend of mine, went to Iceland in 2015, and we were there for like 3 weeks, just sleeping in a tiny car, driving around the island together. And Bonus is the cheapest grocery store there, so that's where we got like all our food. And I just thought this logo was like the funniest thing. Like it reminded me of like
sick.
if you've ever played like Grand Theft Auto, like Grand Theft Auto, they have like the fake like businesses and like like stores and stuff. I was like, this is totally like a Grand Theft Auto like grocery store. It just like it's the funniest logo to me. And so
it's so good. It's so good, dude. When I saw you roll up in that thing, I'm like, this guy is on another level right now.
Oh, I gotta meet Jimmy.
He's got the mixing machine going.
He's back to the Jimmy beats. But yeah,
hey Jimmy.
What's funny is like I was like, that's the sickest logo. Like I gotta get that. It'd be so sick to have a T-shirt. And I asked like people that worked at the store, and they're like, no, we don't sell T-shirts. Like, why would you ever want to wear a T-shirt? Like they were so confused. But they gave us like an email of like a manager, and so we emailed him when we got home, and then like he gave us an email of like someone higher up. We were talking to like the head honcho of Bonus, trying to get T-shirts, and he's like, no, we don't have any T-shirts or anything that we can sell you like for retail. But he gave us the logo, like a Ping logo, so we could like silk screen our own shirts if we wanted to, which was pretty sick.
You put some work into that,
dude. But we need a crew shirt. Come on.
But we never did it. And so then, like a couple weeks ago, my buddy sent me a photo of just like this Bonus T-shirt, and I was like, "Where did you get that?" And I guess on their website now they have all this merch. They have like people like modeling it and stuff. Like it's all trendy. Like we totally gave them that idea. They didn't even know what they had. And now they have like this whole merch line, like sweaters, like polos, T-shirts, like everything. They didn't even know what they had, but
dude, that's like a Iceland Walmart. That is so good.
No, but it's even like crazy. Like the entire store is refrigerated.
Oh yeah,
really?
Yeah. Oh yeah, dude.
Instead of having like refrigerators and stuff, the entire store is refrigerated, and
freezing.
It's the most random place.
Dude, it's such a great place. It's like right before you're getting ready to head out, like out of town. You're like, okay, let's hit that Bonus shit.
I have two Bonus bags, the grocery bags, the plastic ones. I have two of mine. They're like treasured like things. Like,
oh, dude, they're so funny. Look at that thing, dude. That thing is so legit.
He's like some.
Look at his eyes, dude. Dude's been, look at his eyes.
He got punched in the eye.
Dude, he's been hitting it.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah. Jimmy and Mike have never been to Iceland, so sorry, guys.
Yeah, working on it.
Idea. They're not as well traveled.
Might be a road trip.
Yeah, another one.
Iceland, the way to Japan. Stop over.
Yeah. That's a good call. That's a good call.
You know, it's right. Yeah. It's so close to each other.
That's the opposite direction, though.
I'm joking, dude. I attempted a joke. It's too sophisticated for you, Eric.
Yeah, I don't have a sense of humor. Couldn't catch on.
Hey, great episode, Mike. Really, really impressed. Hey, first guest, landmark shit right there. Way to bring it home.
Well, thanks for having me on, you guys. Seriously, like I look forward to meeting you, Mike, and you, Jimmy. I guess not James. Can I call you Jimmy now? Am I like in
he goes by all of it.
Yeah, I call him Jimmy.
Yeah. Hey,
when he's on he's the Hobbit.
when he's on the mixing board, he's Jimmy.
DJ Hobbit.
D Jimmy.
Yeah.
J Hobbit.
DJ Road. Roadball.
He's like,
it's kind of nice. Kind of nice to have him muted. Don't have to hear his like squeaky voice, giving his little input on the images.
Hobbit. Dude, you gotta open that up again, man. Open the throttle.
I think you should turn the microphone.
Let him rip.
It's all good.
That is pure gold. I don't even know what's going on there.
It's almost better than me pissing.
Every episode, there's like some landmark shit going on. Jimmy, on this one.
When you're mixing beer and photography, something's bound to happen.
Yeah, something's gonna
Shit's gonna go down.
Good is always gonna happen.
Yeah, it is definitely.
Well, again, thanks for having me on, guys. Honestly, I look forward to it, and I want to meet you guys on the bottom, Michael and James. Definitely followed your work for a while. I'm really impressed. So it's always good to put like a person to a online persona as well. So
absolutely, man. Likewise.
I'll hit you up, Mike, about an exchange. I'm serious about it. Because I really don't put my work on my wall. Like this one behind me, and then another one in the room. That's really it.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah, Mike's got a lot of wall space. We've established that through 5 episodes now. Mike's got a lot of fucking wall space.
A lot of wall space.
All right. Well, it's getting late, but yeah, Bollino, thanks so much for coming on. It's been a pleasure. Hope to see you in the field again soon. Maybe if you can come out to Utah or something this fall. But
oh, I'd love to. Actually, I'm going to go to Zion in the second week of November.
Cool. I'll probably be around there, so I can probably swing by if you keep in touch.
Yeah, let's keep in touch and see if it goes. My family will be with me, but for sure, come with, swing by, have a beer, go photograph, whatever. So
100%. Yeah, thanks for being brave enough to come on here as our first guest and let us break you in.
Yeah, well, thanks for inviting me. I know, I really appreciate it, and it was a lot of fun, and it was fun to kind of be with you beer snobs for a bit, and hopefully I held my own. I'm not as much of the brutal host.
I'm empty.
You're empty.
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers, guys.
Good episode. We'll see you again soon.
Ciao. Bye, guys.